Hey guys, what's up? Hope everyone is doing very well on this Wednesday, March the 29th. We got 10 games on the schedule. We're going to break down all these games, do our analysis, and find some picks, guys, what we do every single day. Before we get started, guys, let me talk about yesterday's action a bit. Just some crazy results, especially that Boston going into Washington playing an extremely shorthanded Wizards team. They didn't show up, guys, and the Wizards blew them out by 20. Same thing with Oklahoma City and Charlotte. Charlotte, 3-game winning streak, guys, playing the spoiler this year. Beat the Thunder straight up. Even though the Thunder were without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I did expect them to win and cover this line. I was wrong. Ruined my parlay. It was one of my 2 picks that I had on my parlay. But shit happens, guys. That's the NBA for you. You just hope that you're not on the wrong side of one of these crazy results. Anyways, guys, the only thing we can do is continue doing our analysis, trying to figure out which side is the right side, and we're going to finish out the season, hopefully on a positive note. With that being said, guys, let's get started with today's analysis. In the first game of the night, guys, we've got the Milwaukee Bucks going to Indianapolis to take on the Pacers. The Bucks, currently 11.5-point favorites. I had Milwaukee favored by 11 in this ball game. The Bucks, guys, are first in the East with Boston's loss to the Wizards. The lead got extended to 2.5 games. We know Boston is on deck tomorrow. This is going to be Milwaukee's first game of a back-to-back. A game that they have to play, obviously, before the big matchup against Boston tomorrow. What's important to see here on the injury report, guys, we see Giannis is listed as probable. Chris Middleton, questionable. What I read over here on the injury report looks like they're most likely going to hold Chris Middleton out. Load management, they're going to want to have him ready for tomorrow. I don't see Drew Holiday on the injury report. The top 3 players. Indiana, guys, we know has pretty much packed it in. In their last game, they sat Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, their top players. They sat them. They got blown out by the Mavs. Looks like they are preparing for the offseason. In this ball game, guys, what I see happening, and the scenario for this game and tomorrow's ball game, I see the Bucks going into Indianapolis and winning this game comfortably. So my 11.5, I'm looking at Milwaukee at 11.5. I expect them to win this game early and by a lot. In order to get Giannis and the rest of the players, the rest of the starters, the least amount of minutes possible. The Celtics, guys, we know they lost in Washington, so they're going to be coming into the game with the Bucks with a big loss on their backs. What I see playing out, guys, Milwaukee winning this game by a lot, and tomorrow against Boston, I don't know what the line is going to be, but if we see a short line for the Bucks, I would not be surprised if the Celtics went into Milwaukee and won that game straight up. But that's for tomorrow's video. This is just my thoughts on how this whole scenario is going to play out for this game and tomorrow's game against Boston. So this is what we got, guys, in the first game. Milwaukee minus 11.5. In this game, guys, I might even take a first half bet on Milwaukee. I think this game is going to be a blowout. In our next ball game, we got the Houston Rockets in Brooklyn taking on the Nets. The Nets are currently 12-point favorites. I had Brooklyn favored by 10 in this game. The Rockets, in their last game, guys, were in New York playing the Knicks. They got blown out by the Knicks. They're still in New York. This is going to be their 3rd day there. Who knows what they're doing over there? Partying, going out. Very possible. We know their season is pretty much over. And they look like they are in a big fight with the Spurs and the Pistons for the worst record in the league. The competition is very high, guys. The Rockets have lost 6 straight. The Spurs 4 straight. And the Pistons 6 straight. Big competition to see who's going to get the worst record. In this game, guys, the only way I can go is with Brooklyn and this minus 12. Brooklyn, we know, needs a W. They need to hold on to that 6th spot after Miami's loss to Toronto. They do have the much easier schedule. These are the games that they do need to get. I think this is going to be a very easy matchup. This minus 12 should be easy for the Nets to cover. It does look like it looks a little high first glance, and you think of the Nets not being one of the top tier teams that deserve this kind of line, but I think this is going to be a win for Brooklyn covering this spread. In our next ball game, we got the Dallas Mavs traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Sixers. The Sixers are currently 5-point favorites. I had Philly favored by 6 in this game. Philly, guys, this is going to be their first game back from the road trip. A road trip that ended with a loss. They were in Denver in their last ball game. Joel Embiid sat that game out along with James Harden, who has missed 4 straight games. Both these players are listed as questionable here. Obviously, guys, extremely important to find out their status before we put any action on this ball game. But this 5-point line, it is kind of iffy. It is kind of showing me that there is a good chance that both of them play, at least one of them. I think the most likely one to be playing is James Harden. I think he was held out in the previous game last minute, so they're probably going to have him in here in this ball game. The Mavs, we know, guys, have been struggling, fell out of a play-in spot, but they got a gift from the Thunder. They lost at home. The Thunder lost at home to the Charlotte Hornets, the same Charlotte Hornets that beat the Mavs twice in a row. It looks like the Hornets gave them a little gift. The Pelicans also lost. They were in Golden State. They were up huge by 20 points, and the whole thing just turned around. Golden State won that ball game, also helping Dallas in their quest to make the play-in tournament. The Mavs, guys, what I see over here, they are at full strength. Played pretty well in their last ball game with against the Pacers, even though we did kind of speculate that maybe Rick Carlisle had something to do with it, maybe kind of handed that game over. In this ball game, guys, I do expect them to be competitive, but before we make our decision on what we're going to do, we do have to see who's going to play for Philly. But overall, guys, I am leaning towards a play with Dallas and the +5 as of now, but we do have to see, obviously, the status of Harden and Embiid. In our next matchup, we have the Miami Heat traveling from Toronto to New York, the short trip to take on the Knicks. The Heat were in action last night in Toronto. They ended up losing that game by 14. Jimmy Butler was held out of that game with neck soreness. It was the reason on the injury report. From the looks of this line, guys, the -4 is short. So I am expecting Jimmy Butler to be playing in this ball game. I don't know if they held him out just for precautionary reasons. But he looks like he probably will be playing just by looking at this line. There's no way this line would be this short if Butler was not playing. The Knicks continue their regular season in the 5th spot. It looks like, guys, they won't be budging from there. The Cavs are 3.5 games ahead of them, and they are 2.5 games ahead of Brooklyn and 3 in front of Miami. Jalen Brunson, no rush to bring him back. In their last game, they had the Rockets in Madison Square Garden. It was competitive for a bit, but then at the end, they blew them out. Played very entertaining basketball for the fans in Madison Square Garden. In this ball game, guys, it's a much more important game for the Miami Heat. They are battling for that 6th spot. They're in a fight with Brooklyn. Brooklyn is in action tonight also with Houston, which looks like a guaranteed win over there. So Miami needs to keep pace. I expect them to be competitive. We know, guys, Miami is one of those very, very inconsistent teams with no logic in their results. When you expect them to perform well, they don't. And when you expect them to lose, they perform well. This looks like one of these cases over here. I'm going to be looking for Miami to be competitive in Madison Square Garden, and I'm going to take them with this +4. In our next ball game, guys, we've got the Lakers traveling to the Windy City to take on the Bulls. The Lakers are currently 2-point favorites. I had Chicago actually favored by 1 in this ball game, short favorite. The Bulls, guys, are going to be playing their 3rd game in 4 nights. Back from a road trip, they were in action on Sunday against the Lakers. They ended up beating the Lakers by 10 in that game. That was LeBron's first game back from his injury. The next day, they playing the Clippers again in LA, lost that ball game, got a day off yesterday, and they're back in action again tonight. A very tough schedule for the Bulls, and if you look at the standings, guys, they are locked into that 10th spot. Toronto and Atlanta both won last night, so it looks like the Bulls won't be budging from this 10th spot. This looks like a real letdown, a possible letdown game for the Bulls. We know the Lakers also need W's badly. They are involved in that very, very tight race in the West. The injury report shows us that D'Angelo Russell is going to be back for the Lakers. Everything points, guys, in this game to a Lakers W. I'm going to go with the Lakers here and the -2. LeBron is listed as questionable. If he doesn't play, I don't think that'll hurt the Lakers' chances at all. I still like the Lakers in this game -2. Lakers with the -2 is my pick. In our next ball game, we got the Clippers traveling to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are currently 4.5-point favorites. I had Memphis favored by 5 in this game. Memphis, this is going to be their second night of a back-to-back. They were in action at home against the Magic. They ended up winning that game by 5, just enough to ruin everybody that bet on the Grizzlies with the -6 in that ball game. They got up big in the first quarter, in the first half, and then at the end, in the fourth quarter, they gave up the difference over there. The Magic made a game out of it. Memphis did hold on and got a 5-point win to improve their league best home record to 33-5. An incredible home record, guys, if you consider the players that they've had missing all season. Desmond Bane was out for a lot of games at the start. Jaren Jackson Jr. missed games. We know John Morant missed some games with his suspension. Steven Adams has been out forever. An incredible achievement, actually, for the Grizzlies. Managing to get this good of a record, 33-5, the best in the league. In this game, guys, John Morant is scheduled to return to the lineup. He missed the game against Orlando. Looked like they wanted him fresh for this game against the Clippers. The Grizzlies, rightfully so, the favorites. Like I just mentioned, that home record is not to be underestimated. The Clippers definitely, guys, need the win a lot more than the Grizzlies do. The Grizzlies won't be budging from the second spot. They are 3 games behind the Nuggets. Doesn't look like they're going to be catching them. There's only 7 games left in the season. The Kings are behind them 3 games. You could kind of see that the Grizzlies kind of let down their guard in their game against Orlando. The Clippers will be coming in full steam ahead. In the injury report, looks like they might be getting some good news. Norman Powell is listed as questionable. They need their sixth man back in the lineup, especially now with Paul George being out. If he ends up playing, guys, I really, really like the Clippers' chances in this game. Right now, sign me up with the Clippers and the +4.5. In our next ball game, guys, we've got the Utah Jazz flying over to San Antonio to take on the Spurs. The Jazz currently 4.5-point favorites. I had Utah favored by 5.5 in this ball game. This, guys, is what I'd like to call the degenerate game of the night. What do I mean by this? This is a completely meaningless game for both ball clubs. Actually, it might be a little more meaningful for the Spurs. They are interested in losing as much as possible. They are one win better than the Houston Rockets. I think they're going to give it a shot, try to see if they can get that worst record in the league. The worst record actually in the Western Conference, because I think it'll be a little tough to catch the Pistons, who are 16-59, Spurs 19-56, Houston 18-58. The Jazz also, guys, not interested in getting any wins. Obviously, they are the more quality ball club. They do have the superior players. But they are not interested in winning any ball games, guys. And looking at the injury report, it looks like Lauri Markkanen might be held out of this ball game. This game, guys, whoever puts money on this game, I give you the title of degenerate gambler. For the sake of this video, guys, since both teams are not really going to be going for anything, I'll just take the points just for the video's sake, even though I guarantee you I will not be putting a dime on this ball game. In our next ball game, we've got the Oklahoma City Thunder at home on the second night of a back-to-back, taking on the Detroit Pistons. Oklahoma City, 11-point favorites. I had them favored by 9.5. The reason I had this a 1.5 lower than the actual line is, guys, they were in action against the Charlotte Hornets, ended up losing a must-win game straight up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was not playing in that game. The Thunder looked to have it under control. They were ahead for the majority of the contest by 8-10 points until the very end, where Charlotte made a big run and ended up winning that game. Some costly mistakes at the end, some missed free throws for the Thunder. They couldn't get that game into overtime. They ended up losing that straight up. They're still holding on to the 10th spot, though, in the West. 37-39. Actually tied with Dallas. Same record, identical. A bad loss for the Thunder, guys. They really needed this ball game. They will be happy to have the Pistons on board, but guys, the Oklahoma City Thunder looks like without Shai, they're very tough to bet on. I did expect them to win and cover. They were the first team of my parlay yesterday. Ended up blowing that for me, but shit happens, guys. In this game, guys, I will be looking for OKC with the -11, but only, guys, if Shai ends up playing. If he doesn't play, I will definitely be staying away from this game. In the next game of the night, guys, we got the Minnesota Timberwolves traveling to the Valley of the Sun to take on the Suns. Probably the most interesting game of the night. Phoenix currently 6.5-point favorites. I had them favored by 6. Phoenix has won a couple straight after dropping 3. Devin Booker has been on one, guys. He's been playing tremendous basketball, scoring at will. Just a very energetic ball player, carrying the load for Phoenix. One of the top players in the league. I'd put him definitely in the top 10, possibly even top 5. The way he's been playing, he's really been going off. The big news for the Suns, guys, he's going to be getting some reinforcements. Kevin Durant is expected to come back. Hopefully he doesn't get injured in warm-ups again. I'm sure he's going to be extra careful when warming up. He is expected to make his return, which means the Suns are going to be at full strength. DeAndre Ayton also came back in the team's previous game against Utah. Another win for Phoenix. They should be good to go. The Timberwolves, guys, are one of the hotter teams in the league. They've won 4 straight games. The right time, just the right time, guys, to be making their move. They are one of the teams that are involved in the playoff contention. 4 straight wins against 4 very quality opponents, guys. They did beat the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, 140-134. They beat the Hawks at home in a tight one in Karl Anthony Towns' return. Then they went to Golden State, beat the Warriors, and in their last game, they even beat the Kings. Very top quality opponents, the Knicks, the Hawks, Warriors, Kings. Very good teams, 4 straight wins. Karl Anthony Towns was held out of the team's previous game in Sacramento. He is expected to come back in this game. Looks like Minnesota is also going to be at full strength. We know Minnesota, guys, does have a big front line with Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. They have some very nice guards. They play very good defense. It's not going to be an easy game for Phoenix. This line, guys, I think is a little high. I think the enthusiasm that I think a lot of people will be thinking about over here with Kevin Durant coming back will force a lot of people's hand to take the Suns in this game. In my opinion, I'm going to keep riding Minnesota, and I'm going to be taking the points, the plus 6.5. And in the last game of the night, guys, we got the Sacramento Kings traveling to Portland to take on the Trailblazers. Sacramento currently 12.5-point favorites. I had them favored by 11.5 in this game. Sacramento, guys, they are just 1 win away from clinching their first playoff berth in I think 20 years or something. They have the longest drought in the whole league. It looks like they will be clinching this playoff berth tonight against the Trailblazers. Portland, guys, we know has been sitting all their guys. We're competitive a couple of games ago against the Thunder. Ended up losing that game also. Wins and losses don't really matter for Chauncey Billups. He's playing all the subs and giving him some minutes, some experience for the future. The Kings, guys, also don't have real much. They don't have much motivation as far as the standings go. They are pretty much locked into the 3rd spot. I don't think they're going to be moving from there. But for them, it is a big deal to clinch a playoff spot. I do expect them to go into Portland and dismantle the Blazers. I'm going to be looking for Sacramento minus 12.5 in a big win for Sacramento. And this is what I got for you guys on this Wednesday, March the 29th, the 10-game schedule. We broke down all the games, did our analysis, got our picks, and we are ready to go. Now, if I need to update some of these picks, guys, with some late information coming in off the injury report, line movements, all that good stuff we see every day, I will probably do another short little video later on. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell to get the alert when my video comes on. And that's it, guys. That's it. What I'd like to say is be careful. There's just a little over 10 days left in the season. We've seen some wild stuff. My recommendation is to lower the bet size probably. These games can become a little wild. We don't know the motives behind each of these teams and what they're trying to do in these last games of the regular season. So try to stay a little light. The playoffs, guys, are just around the corner anyways, where the real action will begin. And with that being said, guys, good luck on whatever you decide to bet, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a good one, guys. Later.